This is Sharon Pope, and I'm the Love and Relationship Coach for women who want more. I want to share with you a story that I could relate to from a client of mine that I will refer to as Maggie. Clearly, that's not her name. Maggie's mourning the loss of a relationship with a man that she loved deeply. She told me that she had never felt so connected and so close to someone before. That man wasn't her husband. As a matter of fact, he was probably the polar opposite of everything she had ever known her husband to be. It was someone from her past that she used to know, so there was sort of an instant connection. They started out as reunited friends, and it became an affair. A very loving affair. But now that affair has ended. It's over. He has decided that he's going to go back into his marriage and really try to make that work. And although it is killing Maggie, she respects and understands that decision. She's trying to figure out for herself, can she do the same thing? Can she try to go back into her marriage and make it work and make it feel good again? She's just not sure if she can. See, for the 23 years that she and her husband have been married, she always knew something was missing, but she didn't exactly know what that was. She just knew that, there were a lot of days where she felt lonely and isolated. She didn't feel understood, and she certainly didn't feel desired. But she thought, well, maybe after this long, maybe this is just how marriage is. The problem is that now she knows what's missing in her marriage because she felt it with this other man. And once you know something like that, you can't unknow it. She used to be the woman who didn't know what she didn't know. But she's not that same woman now. And what I'm talking about is that intimate connection with another human being. That feeling of I can be completely myself with someone. And all these feelings, all these passions and desires and feelings bubbling to the surface that you didn't even know you had, and you're not even quite sure yet what to do with them. But almost like a drug, you feel like you can't live without them. And yet, because Maggie tied those feelings and those desires and that experience to this one man, and he was no longer there, she assumed she would never experience that again. So now she's mourning the loss of that relationship while she's still in relationship with her husband, going home to him every night. He doesn't even notice that anything is wrong. She's hardly sleeping and eating, and her stomach is in knots all the time. Even though she and her husband have never had that kind of relationship before, it doesn't mean it's not possible. And here's the reason why. Is because those desires, those feelings, and those passions that were brought to the surface in Maggie, those are hers. Yeah, he may have brought them forward, but they're hers. And if she can feel them with him, then she can feel them with someone else, including even her husband. Now, that requires some work. That requires learning a different way of being together. It requires a different version of your relationship. I like to call it the 2.0 version of your relationship. Because as much as you might try to convince yourself, if you're in this situation, to just learn to live without that intimacy and connection. Just suck it up, forget what you now know, figure out how to give yourself a lobotomy for that one little part of your brain that now knows what you know, and how it feels, it doesn't work. There is no going back because now you're different. You now know something that you didn't know before, and that something has changed you. So the 2.0 version of your marriage would have to be where he's going to come join you there. Sometimes that's possible, and sometimes it's not. But one of the things that Maggie and I were working through was that even if it's not possible in her marriage, which first, that was the first question of, can it be possible? And so we needed to explore that. But what she soon found out was that it doesn't have anything to do with the men. She found out that she had to start leading a passionate, connected life herself. She didn't have to wait for unconditional love and acceptance to be pointed at her from someone else. She needed to love and unconditionally accept herself. She had to start creating a passionate life as opposed to waiting for someone to make her feel like she was living passionately. And she had to let her guard down. She had to let people in. She had to let them know her in order to have really connected relationships and meaningful experiences. The good news was it was 100% in her control to be able to do that. And suddenly she went from desperate and grieving and disempowered to once again feeling really clear about what she wanted to create in her life and empowered to be able to create it. And this was something that she had never learned before. If you're wanting to create that passionate life for yourself, if you're wanting to move on after an affair but you just don't know how, and you're wanting to figure out, can I fall back in love with my husband? Can I make this marriage not just work, but feel good again? Or is it time to lovingly release it, and then what are the ramifications there? If that's where you're at, then I want you to know that I can help, because it's all I do. There's a link in the notes field of this video. But if this video speaks to you, then I invite you to subscribe to my channel, because I come out with new videos every single week. And I can't wait to share this information with you. My coaching is completely judgment-free because I feel like you can't heal where there's judgment. So we can't heal this if I'm going to judge you. So I've lost all of that. If this speaks to you, give this video a like. Feel free to share in the comments. And I will see you on the next video. Until then, be well.